Hey everyone, Dweg here, and I'm going to be making a little bit of a different video today. I'm going to be making a preview of week 1 of Home Sweet Home. So I'm going to be talking about the teams in attendance, running through the groups and which teams are playing in the groups, the schedule, what kind of casters you're going to see, where you're going to be able to find, the Twitch channel, everything like that. So to start things off, we're going to start with who are the teams attending. Now, I'm going to be going through a list of teams from the highest HLTV ranked to the lowest HLTV ranked. So to start things off, we've got Godsent, Big, Virtus Pro, Force, North, Spirit, Simon Gaming, Sprout, Movistar Riders, Gambit Youngsters, Endpoint, AGO, Nordavend, Skade, Yapaleno, and Smash. So a 16-team week 1. And some really exciting teams. I would say most of the teams in this 16 teams, like the core at least, is sort of ranked between that 20 and 40 position on HLTV. So a really good range of teams. So now we're going to have a chance to go through the groups of which teams are playing who. So we're starting off with Group A, and it's going to be Team Spirit to start things off. They're currently ranked 25th on HLTV, and probably one of my favorites to advance in Group A. So the way that the group system works, there's 4 teams in each group, A, B, C, and D, and 2 teams will advance to the playoffs, and 2 teams won't. So starting off, Team Spirit ranked 25th. I think they've shown some really good class online recently. Mia and Sundar Young has been putting up some really great numbers, and I think overall they're probably one of the favorites for this group. They did have maybe a little bit of a disappointing run at ESL Pro League at the online for Season 11. They finished 5th there, but at the same time they did have some really strong teams that they were up against. Now moving over to another team in Group A, we've got Big, and again, to me, they're another favorite to advance out of groups. I think if Big didn't advance, I think that would be a massive disappointment. I think I could even rate them potentially higher than Spirit in this group. They qualified for Flashpoint through the closed qualifiers, but they didn't attend because they wanted to play in ESL Pro League. They did have a very disappointing Pro League, though. They finished in last place, 6th place in Group B. And the results online have been relatively poor. They had a loss to Movistar Riders and NIP in the EU minor closed qualifiers. So online results from them hasn't been stellar. But just due to the firepower and the experience that this German lineup has, I don't see there being any way that they are not advancing out of groups. Now, making our way to the third team in Group A, we have Smash. Now, Smash are the lowest ranked team in week 1 for Home Sweet Home, but they have put up some pretty impressive results online. They were able to take a very nice 2-1 victory over Complexity just over 2 months ago in the closed qualifiers for the EU minor, and I think that was probably like one of the biggest upsets in the closed qualifiers, the way that they were able to beat Complexity. Actually, no, it wasn't. It was in the open qualifiers because Complexity didn't even make it to the closed qualifiers. They got invited later, but anyway, they beat them in the open qualifiers, which was a massive upset. And the lineup has only been formed 4 months ago, so I think it is going to take a little bit of time to see some progression for this lineup. But I don't think they're going to be a team that's going to be able to make their way out of groups. Moving on to the 4th team in Group A, we've got Simon Gaming. Now, again, they've had a couple of roster moves coming in. Creets and Mo are currently on trial, replacing Perfecto as he obviously moved over to Na'Vi, and Ramzik Boss being moved to the bench position. Now, they haven't actually played many officials in the last 3 months, so they might come into this event with a bit of a surprise to maybe some of the teams in the group, considering that they haven't played, I think they've played less than 20 maps in the last 3 months on just in general on LAN or online. So for them, I think there's a potential of, a couple of upsets here and there, but I don't think they'll be one of the teams that are going to be making their way out of groups. Now, moving on to Group B. Group B is I would say for the second team to advance is probably one of the most difficult groups we have. Now, we're starting off with, and again, another strong favourite, Godsent. They are, I believe, the highest ranked team, 17th on HLTV. They signed the original lineup that Smash had as soon as they launched their organisation in November last year. And I think at the moment, a big talking point is the victory that Godsent were able to pull off against OG in the closed qualifiers to qualify for the EU Minor, where it was 15-14, last map on Nuke, and Crystal was in a 1 versus 1, and he dropped down from heaven towards the upper bomb site on Nuke, and he made a silent jump. So basically, the way that he sort of moved his way around, it's never been done before. At least I've never seen it done before, and a lot of players have never seen it done before. He was able to make that heaven jump silently, and he was able to clutch out the 1 versus 1. And I think somewhere on Twitter you'll be able to find the clip of the TeamSpeak comms of Godsent, because they were going absolutely off. It was a massive moment for them. So I think for Godsent, they're a heavy favourite to make the playoffs for week 1 in Group B. Moving over to another team, we've got Skade, the Bulgarian lineup. Very strong results online recently. They did qualify for Flashpoint Season 1, but unfortunately they ran into some visa issues and they weren't able to attend, which was a massive disappointment, because I know how hard the Skade guys have been working recently. They've been absolutely grinding the online scene. They're one of those teams that will play 70, 80, 90 maps in a best of 3, not in a best of 3, in the last 3 months, every 3 months, basically. So they really have a lot of matches to play in the online scene. They're in a lot of tournaments. And Rainwaker, he's been a very exceptional player in my mind. A fantastic AWPer for Skade, and he's really been hitting some really nice shots really consistently. So watch out for Skade in Group B. Now, moving on to the Polish side, we've got AGO, currently ranked 41st in HLTV. They recently had an announcement where they have changed their lineup around a little bit. So they are currently rocking the 7-man lineup, where the only other team to have more than a 5-man lineup at the moment, I think, is Astralis, with Esatag as their 6-man lineup. But AGO have got 7 players, and they've moved Sydney and Lemon to the backup position for them to focus on individual aim and individual gameplay. And they've brought in Fiku, who was a backup player already, up to the active lineup. And they've also brought in Oscarich, who is an in-game leader from Illuminar Gaming. Now, the big thing here is Sydney, who was moved to the backup position, used to be the IGL, or is the IGL for XCOM AGO. So him moving down and replacing him with a new IGL, not sure how that's going to work, because obviously the team play is just going to be completely different. But we'll have to wait and see. So my expectations of AGO, I don't really know. I think it's going to be a really difficult one to call, because this is just a brand new lineup. So I feel like they definitely have a potential of making playoffs, but again, it's going to be a difficult one, especially with Skade in that position as well. Moving on to the 4th team in Group B, we have Endpoint, and I would say they're probably the best core UK team to ever be produced in CSGO. Now, these guys have put up some really good results online. They were able to go to DreamHack Open Leipzig, I think it was, where they had a little bit of a disappointing exit, but they still proved themselves on LAN, and they had a fantastic regular season of Advance. They came 2nd in the online season. I think they placed like 14-2 or 14-3, something like that, in the online season, or the regular season, as they like to call it. And they're actually playing tomorrow for an opportunity to move straight, to get that promotion straight to MDL next season, rather than having to play through the MDL relegations. So I think in terms of Skade, AGO, and Endpoint, I think the skill gap is so close between these 3 teams that it really could be anyone's day of who makes it to that 2nd qualifier spot. I don't think any of them should be able to contend with Godsent, but I think it's going to be a difficult one to say who should be that 2nd qualifying team out of those 3 teams. Now, moving on to Group C. This may be a little bit of a longer video, but hopefully we'll be able to wrap it up relatively quickly. Movistar Riders, they had a dream run in the EU minor closed qualifiers, getting a win over Smash and Big. So some really nice victories from them, and I think possibly one of their biggest achievements to date. They did have I kind of want to say a not a fantastic season in MDL this season. So look, I think for them, it's going to be a very difficult task for them to advance out of playoffs. They're not one of my favorites to make it out of the top 2 position, but definitely a team that will be able to not go down without a fight. Moving on to the Swedish team, Yapaleno, currently ranked 48th in HLTV. Core members of this lineup, so Freddy Frog, Relaxer, Plessin, and DJL, have played together for almost 500 maps over the course of 2 years. So it's fantastic to see a lineup that's been together through different orgs and different teams, but as a core together for such a long time. And they had a fantastic MDL season. They were able to end up with a 3rd placing in MDL, which means that they qualified for the Global Challenge. Again, I think that they can definitely put up a good fight, but I don't see them advancing to the playoffs. Now, moving on to the Danish powerhouse, North, currently ranked 23rd in HLTV. They brought MHL back in earlier in the year, and they've also added Jumpy as their coach. Swedish coach, which has been a part of the Fnatic lineup for like 3 or 4 years, really long time. I think this is maybe the first time he's been on a Danish lineup, but I do expect some really good things from North. I think the thing with them here is I don't know how much of an advantage they have over this team, but I think just in raw firepower and experience, they should easily be able to ride this Group C. I don't think this should be a challenge for them at all. Now, moving on to Sprout. Really impressed by Sprout recently. They've had that German lineup, and for such a long time, they started off with International, they went to German, and they lost Sirison and Keto to Big. So for them, they were like, well, how do we try and bring this lineup back? They ended up picking up Diha and Oscar, Diha being sort of an entry fragger, and Oscar being a fantastic AWPer for this lineup. Veteran player, I think he's getting like 28, 29 years old. He's getting up there, and he is just putting such impressive numbers for Sprout in the last 3 months. He's really been a star player for them, consistently having massive games, and I think they're a force to be reckoned with. There is no doubt in my mind that Sprout should be that second team that qualifies or that moves on to the playoffs out of Group C. They also were able to finish first in the regular season of MDL with a 14-3 placing, and then not dropping a single map in playoffs in the playoffs of MDL to qualify straight away to that global challenge. Now, moving on to the last group, Group D. Now, this is a bit of an interesting group. We've actually got 3 teams from that CIS region. So, starting off with Virtus Pro, look, what to say about them? I think they've probably been in the worst form we've seen from them this year. It's really disappointing, and I really hope they can turn things around. I remember seeing an interview on HLTV where I can't remember the player, but one of the players on Virtus Pro is saying, well, if things don't change around, then potentially we'll be looking at a roster move. And yeah, look, they're in a world of trouble at the moment. They finished 5th out of 6th in Pro League, 13th to 16th in IM Katowice 2020, 5th to 6th in the Ice Challenge, and 7th to 8th in DreamHack Leipzig, where I don't even think they won a single map. So yeah, look, results from them have been atrocious. So, look, going into this, they've got a ton of experience. Will they be able to get out of this slump, maybe facing off against some lower tier teams than what they've faced in the last few months? Potentially, but it's still going to be a really difficult one. So for me, they're not a favorite to make it out, but I think it would be disappointing if they don't make the playoffs. Moving over to another CIS team, we've got Gambit Youngsters, currently sitting 37th in HLTV. Now, they haven't made a roster move in the last 10, 11 months. It's been a really long time, and they are a super young lineup by the name of the team. Their average age is under 19 years old for all 5 players in that lineup. Now, let me talk about Shiro. in the last 3 months, and I think he's played about 70 to 80 maps with the whole team for the last 3 months, he has posted almost positive 500 KD differential. That is ridiculous. That's unbelievable. So yeah, Shiro is just an absolute carry for this team. He's a star player, and I think in the next upcoming years, if he doesn't continue staying with this lineup, he's going to be one of the best talents to come out of the CIS team, CIS talent pool. So expect to see a lot from him in Group D. Moving over to Fours. Fours have looked really good recently. They haven't had a lineup change in about 18 months or so. They've really, stuck together. They placed third in Group B of ESL Pro League, which is just finished. And again, saw some really impressive stuff from them. Jerry being that in-game leader, and Exy Power being that super in-your-face, aggressive AWPing style. Love to see it. And they put some really nice victories in Pro League. They were able to get a win over Complexity, Big, and North. So some really big teams. And I definitely think that they're a favourite to make it out of groups into the playoffs. Last but not least, the last team to mention for the Group D of Home Sweet Home Week 1 is going to be Nordavind. Now, Nordavind have had a couple of roster moves recently. They've picked up NATO Savix and HS. Unfortunately, they lost Halzerk over to Dignitas, and they've currently, their in-game leader of Rubino has had a wrist injury, so he hasn't played for 2 months. So Harry, a Norwegian player, has been standing in for him. It's always difficult when you lose your in-game leader to a wrist injury or anything like that, because it's going to make it really difficult, especially with the experience that Rubino has. So again, between Virtus Pro, Gambit Youngsters, and Nordavind, don't really have a clear second of who I think would make it out into groups. If I want to put my eggs on someone, I'm going to say Gambit Youngsters. I think they have what it takes to be able to take over Virtus Pro and Nordavind to make it out of groups. But that's going to be it. That's all groups. Group A, B, C, and D explained. Now I'm going to be talking a little bit about the schedule of how it's going to work. So the matches are going to start every day on the 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. For the group stage games. So it will start at midday CEST, and the Eternal J and I will be covering the opening best of ones, so 2 best of ones, and then the best of 3 winners match, and then Kieran and Syed will be taking the elimination match and the decider match, the other best of 3s, in the evenings. We'll be taking the afternoon games, so we'll be taking the evening games, and that will be in, 2 days' time. So the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, and the 10th of April will be the group stage games. So Group A on the 7th, Group B on the 8th, Group C on the 9th, and Group D on the 10th. Now, when we get into the playoffs, which will start on the Saturday, I believe it is, on the 11th, it will be a Maniac and a Vince covering the playoffs for Week 1. So, fantastic talent pool. Can't wait to be getting involved again, casting with the Eternal J, and obviously Kieran and Syed being the replacement casters for us in the evening. Now, where can you find this tournament? Head on over to twitch.tv Grid Esports. That's where you'll be able to find the Twitch link. HLTV and Wikipedia will cover all the games as well, so that's where you'll be able to find all the information. Now, the important bit, the prize pool. It is going to be 40,000 USD every single week for 8 weeks. So that's a total of 320k USD for the course of 8 weeks. Now, first place will receive 30,000 USD and a spot in the grand final. Second will receive 10,000 USD, and then third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and everyone else will receive nothing. So it's only first and second receiving prize money. Now, who is Grid? They're relatively new to being able to put tournaments on. If you don't remember, they were a part of the United Master League, another online league that was brought probably towards the end of last year and the beginning of this year. So they are a new TO that I think will be getting into some more Counter-Strike action, especially in the situation we're in at the moment. I think it's been a fantastic opportunity to get an event of this size prize pool and this size teams. in the current position that we are in at the moment. So yeah, look, I think that's going to be the recap for week 1 of Home Sweet Home. It's going to be fantastic. So to recap, it's going to be 2 opening best of 1s every day for the group stage, and then winners best of 3, decider best of 3, and then the elimination best of 3 as well every day for 4 days, and then the playoffs on the Saturday and the Sunday. So it's 6 days of Counter-Strike action, which is absolutely phenomenal. And that's going to be it. My name is Dweg. If this is a little bit of a different video, I want to just see how it kind of works and if people enjoy it or not. It is a little bit of a longer video. I think we're reaching about 20 minutes or so. But if you do want to follow me on socials, my Twitch is twitch.tv/Dweg. Follow me on, or subscribe to me on YouTube and just type in Dweg. Dweg CSGO on Instagram and Twitter. So that's going to be it from me. I look forward to being able to produce, to be able to cast this fantastic event. So stay tuned on all of the socials to hear more about it. And if you do like this kind of a video, let me know, and potentially I'll make a couple of different videos, or I'll continue this. I kind of want to just push the YouTube a little bit more, so I thought, let's try this video, see what the reaction is like. But once again, thank you all for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.